first in the series of the new Food Sense Creates. Have you ever walked into the kitchen at 5 o'clock, the whole family's starving, and you don't know what to make for dinner? That can be the most overwhelming sense in the whole world. That's usually when people give up and go get takeout or fast food. But it doesn't have to be that way. Cooking at home actually saves more time and more money than eating out or buying the frozen stuff at the store. And that's what this whole series is about, is teaching you how to get in the kitchen and actually create a meal with the foods that you have in the pantry. I went to my neighbor's house and rummaged through her fridge and her pantry and came back with some foods that I'm going to make a really delicious dinner for them tonight. I'm calling it Chicken Alfredo Roasted Veggie Casserole. It's going to be delish. The best thing about this method of cooking is that it doesn't have to be the foods that you see in front of me. It can be anything that you find in your fridge or in your pantry, as long as you just follow a few simple rules. Rule number one, step number one, is that you find starch. So we're using whole wheat penne pasta. So now that I've chosen my pasta, I'm going to take it over to the stove, to my boiling water, and get it started. The second step in creating your casserole is to choose your protein. Today we're using the chicken. Speaking of chicken, and actually any kind of meat, it's really helpful and easy when you have it already cooked in advance. So when you buy that chicken or the hamburger at the store, bring it home and cook it that day, and then stick it in the freezer in pre-portioned packages, and you've got instant food when it's time to cook. It makes the process so much faster. This is pre-cooked chicken, so we're going to set it aside. You don't have to worry about it right now. It's already done. Step number 3 is actually my favorite. That's the veggies. You need to choose at least 1 and hopefully up to 3, but you can choose as many veggies as you want. The more the merrier. The best thing about veggies, besides the fact that they're so nutritious, is that they fill up your tummy without adding hardly any calories. So you get to eat a little bit more, but you're actually eating less, if that makes any sense. With these raw veggies, we need to do something to them. You can steam them, boil them a little bit, but my very favorite way to cook veggies, all veggies, is to roast them. So that's what we're going to do now. So to roast the veggies, we're just going to take a dish, a bowl, and add all the ones that we want roasted into the bowl. You can also do this in a Ziploc bag. It's really, really easy that way. I just feel guilty sometimes about roasting the Ziploc bag. So add the veggies, and then just a little bit of olive oil to coat them. It doesn't take very much. Sometimes I don't. I skip this step and I just use a little bit of cooking spray. So now that I've got the veggies evenly coated with some olive oil, I'm going to take a baking sheet that I've lined with foil and just evenly spread these onto the sheet. Then I'm going to pop it in the oven at 425 and let it cook for 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, now we're on to step 4. See how easy it's been so far? We're already on step 4 of 6. This is where we choose flavors. A flavor is different. A flavor is usually a vegetable, but it's a little bit different than the other vegetables that we chose because it usually has a more pungent, strong flavor, and it just adds that oomph to the casserole that we need. For this one, we've chosen some onion and bell pepper and some garlic. But you also get it in spices and herbs, and we're adding our thyme, salt, and pepper to add a little bit more flavor to this casserole. So we're going to saute our onion, our garlic, and our bell pepper together. Instead of using oil, I use either a little bit of broth or just even some water. Sometimes I don't even have to do anything because the onions have enough water in them that they sweat and create their own liquid. So I'm dumping my onion and my bell pepper into the pan. You can tell I've got it hot enough because you can hear the sizzle. This is just, it takes between 1 to 3 minutes for my onion to become translucent. And then I know that I've got it cooked well enough. Once I do that, then I can add my garlic. I don't want to add the garlic now because garlic burns really, really easy. and once it burns, it tastes bitter. So we don't want to add the garlic as soon as we add the onion. One of the characteristics of a casserole is that it usually has some kind of a creamy, yummy sauce to it. And if you've ever paid attention to a lot of casserole recipes, most of them use a sauce that's made from cream of whatever soup. That's a fast, easy way to do it, but there's also a more healthy and economical way to do it, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make a cream sauce, a homemade cream sauce, by making a slurry. So what we do first is we add our liquid, and in this case, we're using the milk and some chicken broth. The broth will give it a really nice flavor. And we're going to heat those up. And we want them to get quite hot. So while I've got my liquids heating, I'm going to make my slurry. The slurry is just some flour or cornstarch. I usually prefer flour. Added to some cold water. So I'm going to dump my flour into my water. Give it a good stir. And it makes just a paste. Once I have the lumps out of my slurry, my water and flour combination, then I'm going to add it to my hot liquid. And I'm going to do that quite slowly because I don't want a bunch of lumps in my gravy. I need the liquid to be hot, but once I pour the gravy in, then I turn my heat either down or off, and I continue to stir until I have everything well combined. So now we've completed step 5, making our sauce. The last step is our topping, but we're going to talk about that in just a minute because we're going to combine all of our ingredients together. So I'm going to take my pasta and add it to this delicious thickened sauce. I'm going to take my cooked chicken and add that. I'm going to take my roasted veggies. Look how divine those look. Add that. I'm going to add my spinach. The pan that I stirred all of this together in is actually an oven-proof pan. So I can stick this in my oven exactly the way I've got it right now. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. The casserole is cooked. So we're going to take it out of the oven. And now we're on to our last step, step 6. We're going to top the casserole with some fresh breadcrumbs and a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Then it will go back in the oven for 5 to 10 minutes, just long enough to brown the crumbs a little bit and melt the cheese. And then voila, dinner is served. So do you see how easy that was? Steps 1 through 6 didn't take very long. It was fun to make. I used ingredients from the kitchen. I didn't have to run to the store to get anything. One of the best things about this meal, it costs less than $5. That's $1.25 a person as it feeds 4 people. We know exactly what went into this dish, and it can be a thing that we are proud of to serve our families. If you enjoyed this video, then stay tuned for more because we have more fun ways to create meals at home.